Hello everyone, we should now be live on both Facebook and YouTube. So thank you everyone for joining me today. As you know, today is Stamp Along Project Day. So I'm going to be showing you how to create this beautiful card, okay, which is a fabulous pop out. So this one's quite an involved project. So what we'll do is we can break this down into steps, and you can also take away elements of this that you can use in your own card making. So thank you everyone for joining me. I can see the comments are starting to come through on my screen now. So hello to Becky, hello to Anne, hello to Linda, hello to June and Mandy. Thank you all so much for joining me today. So today's video is going to be quite a lengthy project, but like I say, this is going to go up on the Facebook page once I've finished the live, and it'll also go up on the YouTube page once I've finished the live as well. So you can keep referring back to this at any point that you like to in the future. You can also hop onto our website, and if you go onto chloescreativecards.co.uk, scroll down to the very bottom, you will see that there is a link that says blog. If you click on blog, you will then be able to download this free PDF instruction sheet. Okay, so it's got your materials on one page. Sorry, I have been using mine as scrap paper and colouring on it, as we all do as crafters. So you've got your list of materials on here. You've got some photos of the project, and then you've also got your full step-by-step written instructions that are up on the blog as well. So please do have a little look on there and download this, because it's a brilliant reference point to keep referring back to. What I also need to tell you about is we've gone quite technical now with the PDF instructions. So when we pop these up on the website, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to click on each of the items and it'll take you to the link on the website. So if you want to shop any of the items that I'm using today, you can do so at www.chloescreativecards.co.uk, and I will also download this video and pop it onto the blog as well once I finish the live. Okay then, so it's going to be quite a lengthy project. Hope you've all got tea and biscuits at the ready, or if you're in the UK today, it is rather warm, so maybe you've got a cold drink instead, or ice cream, who knows. So we're going to dive on in, and we're going to start off with this project. I'm going to pop a little screen in first, because we've done a little graphic that shows you what you're going to need for this project. Hopefully you've all been paying attention to the emails and the things we've been popping up on socials, and you'll have seen what you're going to need to create this one. So I'm going to pop this in, and I will quickly talk you through. So we are going to be using the Summer Foliage Panel Stamp and Die set, the Summer Foliage Corner Stamp and Die set, the Fancy Rectangles A5 metal die set, the 8x8 metal die set basic circles. That's just to cut your shape out in the middle, so you could do this any shape if you wanted to, any of our nesting dies that you've got. Then we're using lots of Sparklicious glitter, of course. So we've got Lumiere Copper Medley, Rainbow Blue, Lemon Sorbet, Lime Zing and Crystallina. We are also going to be using some Wow embossing powders. So the colours that we're going to use are Metallic Silver and Clear Gloss. They are both super fine. They're the only ones that we sell on the website. We don't actually sell the regular grade powders. We just sell the super fine ones. You're also going to need a VersaFine ink pad in Onyx Black. That's what I like to use for stamping some of my elements. It just gives you that nice jet black outline. If you wanted to do this with something a little bit different that you've maybe already got in your stash, if you've got a clear ink pad and a black embossing powder, it will give you the same effect. I personally prefer to use clear embossing powder over a black ink pad, because then you don't get any little speckles anywhere. Next up, you're going to need some of our gorgeous floral sequins in the blues. You are also going to need our bling box in the Sugared collection, which I am aware is out of stock on the website at the moment, but we do have some bling box refill packs coming in next week. So keep an eye out on the website for those, because the colours from the Sugared collection we've actually brought back in, but as little refill packs. You are also going to need our aquamarine pearl card, our crystal white pearl card, the Luxe ribbon in Sugared blue, the 8x8 paper pad beautiful jewels, and I've put on here silver mirror card, but that is my fault. It is actually the dual colours mirror card pad that you're going to need, not silver mirror card. When I wrote this up, I thought I'd made it in silver, but I've actually used blue mirror card on it. And then you are also going to need 2 8x8 white card blanks. For this particular card, if you were wanting to send this or give it, I would probably pop it in a box because it is quite a dimensional project. So again, boxes aren't really my kind of thing, but if you have got one of the Crafter's Companion scoreboards, you can easily make a box on there for this project. Right then, so I'm going to dive on in. I've got my instruction sheet at the ready. So I'm going to start with the front of the project first. So let me pop the overhead camera on. Or hello to everyone that's joining us as well. Hello to Gillian, Selma. Oh, Mandy's got half the prep done but got stuck, so she's waiting for the demo to clear it up. Right then, I'm going to pop the overhead camera in so you can see exactly what I'm doing and we'll get started. So this is the project, just to give you a bit more of a close-up look. So this is a pop-out card, and these are cards that I've been making for years. I actually used to make these when I made and sold my cards, which is a long time ago now. But they are really easy to make, but really effective. And what I like is, if you make a lot of 8x8 cards like I do, you always end up with that little thin scrap, don't you, of card when you cut it off to do your mats and layers. This makes it a brilliant way to kind of use that up, as it just fits the side panels absolutely perfectly. So that's the inside. The front looks like this, and this is what we're going to start with. So I'm going to show you lots of different techniques within this card, so hopefully you'll pick up something new today. So I'm going to pop that to one side to start with. I have got all of my bits pre-prepped as well, just so that if we need a little bit of time for glue drying or anything, I've got one that I can grab in to show you. So I'm going to start off with a piece of our crystal white pearl card, and I've cut this down to, I do believe it is 7 1/4 inches square. Again, it will all be in your instruction sheet, so keep referring back to that one. Right, I'm going to take my Wow clear embossing ink pad, and I'm going to grab an anti-static bag. My anti-static bags seem to have developed holes in the corner, so they're quite anti-staticky. So we're just going to give this a little dust over, like so, to start with. And then what we're going to do is we are going to take our stamp. So the stamp that I'm starting with is, it's just got a little bit of glitter stuck on there. This is the Summer Foliage Corner stamp and die set. So I'm going to start off with just the stamp, okay? And what we're going to do is we are going to take our clear embossing ink pad. So this is the Wow clear embossing ink pad. We're going to ink it up. Like so, lots of light tapping. And then we're going to place this down in the top left corner of our project, like so. So we're going to hover and press. So you want firm, even pressure all over the stamp, like so. And then we're going to lift that off. Okay, I'm going to take my Wow Metallic Silver Superfine embossing powder. I'm using it from the large jar today, but if you've got a small jar at home, it works just as well. And I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper. I've got to sprinkle my embossing powder over the image and tap away the excess like so. Okay, I'm going to pop that into there. And then we are going to take a little paintbrush and just dust away. I've just got a tiny little bit there where I've got a little finger mark. So I'm then going to take my heat gun and I'm going to heat this up. So I'm going to hold the heat gun still. As soon as I see that embossing powder start to melt and change, I'm going to move my heat gun over the image. So you can see how it goes from that dull grey to a lovely bright silver. And there we go, and that is our image all nicely heated up. We're then going to take our anti-static bag, we're going to give that little corner another dust over. The reason why I do that is you quite often get inky fingers, so you can get inky finger marks on your cards. So we're going to take our ink pad again, and we're going to ink up the stamp. So again, lots of light tapping all over the image. Oops. Just caught that with my nail. And then we're going to take this and stamp it down in the bottom right corner. Like so. So in effect, what you're doing is you're kind of creating a little frame on your project. Okay, I'm going to lift that off, and we're going to take our metallic silver Superfine, sprinkle that over and tap off the excess. Anywhere where I've got little inky finger marks, I always get them around the edge. Just going to dust that off. Then we're going to pop that silver back into the jar, and we're going to heat this up. So again, we're just holding that heat gun still. As soon as we see that embossing powder start to melt and change, we are just going to move the heat gun over the image. Like so. Okay, so we've got those lovely corners all nicely embossed now. So what we're going to do next is we are going to take our Dries Clear glue. So again, this is the Art Glitter Dries Clear adhesive, and I use this all the time. And I'm going to grab in my lovely Lime Zing glitter. And what I'm going to do is take my glue, and I'm going to go in and infill the little leaves on this one like so. I'm not being too careful about like tracing around the little veins in the leaves. I'm just going straight over the top. Just want to get a little bit of colour on here. Okay, and then what I'm also going to do is just take my glue, pop some tiny little dots in the background. Like so. And then we're going to cover this with the Lime Zing glitter, which is beautiful. It's a lovely vibrant green, this one. So you can see what a difference that then makes. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same on the bottom corner. So I'm going to pop my glitter back into the jar and then work on this bottom corner as well. So we're just going to go in, infilling the little leaves with the glue. Like so, adding this in. And then we're going to go in and add the little dots just in and around the corner in effect. One more little dot there. So then we're going to sprinkle that glitter over. It's the first bit there and that bit there. And then you can see how beautiful that is then looking. So we're going to take that piece and pop that to one side for now. And we're going to pop our glitter back into the jar. Now for the next little bit, I have pre-prepped this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of our lovely aquamarine pearl card, and we're going to restamp this corner twice onto there. So I'm just going to do it once to show you how to do this because I have already got one done. But I'm going to take my little anti-static bag, I'm going to give my card a dust over again, I'm going to grab back in my stamp, I'm going to ink it up like so. If you notice there as well, I didn't worry too much about inking the foliage. I really am only interested in the flowers. So that's the only part that I've inked. And then I'm just going to apply firm even pressure all over the image. And then we are going to take our metallic silver Superfine embossing powder again. We're going to sprinkle that over the top and tap away the excess. back into the jar, and then we're going to heat this up. Now again, if you're crafting along at home, you need to do that twice, okay? So you need to do that 2 times, so it's going to then give you the blue flowers for both of the corners. So I'm just going to give that a little second just to kind of dry off a little bit. I'm always worried to put my dye directly over the top in case the embossing powder is still a little bit wet. So if you just give it a couple of seconds, just to, it's not dry in effect, it's like to cool down, because obviously you're melting the embossing powder. So then we're going to take our dye, we're going to pop that directly over the top, like so. Tape that in place. I'm really sorry if you got a lovely shot of my roots there, as I just leaned in. Right, and then we're going to run that through our die cutting machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our plates. So for the plates for this one, I'm going to use my base plate, my plastic shim, my die on my card, and then I'm going to put my cutting plate on the top, and then we're going to run that through our Gemini. I've got my Gemini machine just set up to me to the side here. So once we've run that all the way through, we're going to grab that at the other side. Okay, and then we're going to lift this out. So when we push these out, we've got 3 perfectly die cut little flowers. Okay, so they are going to be ready to go onto our project. So again, you need to do that twice if you're crafting along at home, but I've got one that I've already pre-prepared. You might sometimes find as well that some of your embossing powder can lift off a little bit. That can happen, don't worry about it, because we're going to put some glitter on the top. Just going to give this one a little heat, just lift a little bit there. There we go. Right, so what we're going to do next is we are going to take our rainbow blue Sparklicious glitter. This is a gorgeous colour as well. It's really, really pretty. Okay, so you've got like chunky flakes in there, and you've also got the finer blue glitter in there as well. So what we're going to do next is take our Dries Clear glue again, and we're going to go in and we're going to glitter the little line down the middle. And then we're going to put some tiny little dots of glue just onto the petals, and you can kind of go for as much or as little glitter as you like. Then we're going to cover that with that beautiful rainbow blue. We're going to tap away the excess, and then you can see what a difference that makes to the little flowers. It really does make them pop. Okay, so that is one done. So you're going to do this on all of the flowers, so you'll have 6 in total to glitter up. But like I say, I've got some that I've already done. So all I'm doing is tracing the glue down the centre of the flowers, and then adding some little dots of glue just onto the petals like so. And then we're going to sprinkle that over the top and tap away the excess. I'm going to do that on all of these little flowers. And there we go. And then we're going to lift that off and we're going to sprinkle that over the top. There we go. Okay, so you can see how fabulous that then looks. Wrong lid there. Okay, so what we're going to then do is we're going to grab back in the bit where we've glittered the green, and we're going to just edge around the side of here. I just want to check that I've cut this to the right size. Of course I have, because I did it a little bit earlier today. So I'm going to grab in my Crystallina glitter, which, as you all know, I always have mine in a little tub. and then I'm going to grab in my chisel tip glue pen. And what we're going to do is hold that pen at a slight angle, so it's about a 45-degree angle, and then drag the pen towards you. And what that's going to do is give you the most beautiful little border along the edge of your project that you can then add your glitter onto. And there we go. Okay, so you can see how gorgeous that is then starting to look. So what we're going to do now is layer up the flowers onto our base card. So let me grab in, I've done loads of these, the ones that I've already done. Also grab some foam pads. So I'm going to start off by just trimming my foam pads down, just so that they're a bit of a better size for this particular project. And then I'm going to just pop a little foam pad into the centre of each of the flowers, like so. Okay, and then we're going to start and just layer the flowers up on the top. Now what I've done, because I've glittered these, is I sometimes like to just use a little brush, just to give them, I've got a little pot here, and all I'm doing is just dusting the flowers over now that they're dry. And then we're just going to layer these down on top. I'm going to give them all a little dust as I go. It just helps with the excess glitter on your project. Okay, and there we go. So you can see how fab that's then looking in the corner. So we're going to do exactly the same with the one at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to pop a little bit foam on there, and then we're going to pick out our flowers again and start to layer these up. That's one. This is two. And this is three. There we go. So you can see how gorgeous that is then looking. So what we're going to do now is we'll grab in our little bling box. So I am using the sugared one, which I know that lots of you have already got. If you haven't got these particular colours, they will be coming back on the website, but in like a little refill pack. Okay, so what we're going to do is take 2 of the large stones. And I'm going to take about 4 of the medium ones. There we go. And we're going to stick these down in the middle. So a little blob, again, if this dries clear glue, I really do use it all the time. And then we're just going to pop these into the centres of the flowers, like so. Really is nice and like quick and easy to do this particular part of the project as well. What we're then going to do is we are going to take our little blue sequins, which seem to have buried somewhere. Here they are. Okay, and we are going to take, just trying to read some of the comments. I noticed there was one about, do I refill my ink pad? Yes, I do. And then Joanna's asking, are you doing any of the white pearls and the refills? Yes, we are. They are definitely coming. The AV white pearls. They're in the 5 and 6mm sizes we've gone for to start with. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some glue dots. You can just use your glue, but because I want to try and get as much in as I can today, I'm going to use glue dots to stick my little sequins on. So I'm picking up some of like the little 6-pointed flower sequins that we have got in the blue floral sequin mix. These are gorgeous as well. I love these. So we're going to take, so you can see I love them. I've tipped them all out the top of the packet. There we go, we'll get some more out. You honestly get so many of these sequins in these packs as well. If you haven't gone for these, they just make the most beautiful embellishment. So we're going to add in all of these just onto the glue dots. Like so, and then it just makes them self-adhesive. I just find this a little bit easier, if I'm being honest, as well, rather than using the glues. So I'm going to pop that there and pop another one there. Okay, then we're going to start and just dot these around in the background. So I'm going to pop one up here, one there, one there, one there, one there. Okay, so you can see how you can add these into the background. I'm going to do exactly the same, just dotting them around the top. There's no need to kind of pocket these in here, like so. I wonder if we are bringing snowflake sequins soon. That could be a very good guess there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is some of these sequins have got like they're a little bit more 3D. So for those ones, I do like to just pop a little blob of glue into position. I'm using the Dries Clear PVA again, which is nice and easy to use. So just going to dot a few of these around. Like so. It is particularly warm today, so I think my glue is going to dry hopefully pretty sharpish. So I'm going to pop in there. There we go. Right, I'm going to lift that just over to one side for now while I pop my little sequins back into their bag. And see where it's just stuck to my chisel tip glue pen there. There we go, so we'll tip those back into the bag. Okay, and then we're going to take our bling box again. We're going to use some of the smallest little bling stones that are in here. So I'm going to pull some of these out. I'll just put them in a little pile on paper. And then we're going to take our glue. I'm just going to pop a little blob of glue in the middle of each of the 6 petal flowers. And then I'm going to take my little picky up tool and just pop these down onto our base card. It's going to go there. My glue will dry clear as well, so I'm not stressing about the glue going over the edges either. You can just pop your little there we go. And that is then that layer for our card complete. So what I'm going to do is pop that to one side so that can then be drying while we prep the other elements. Okay, so I'll pop these little jewels back into the bag. I mean, if you wanted to as well, you could even just do that as your card and pop a sentiment in the middle. So for all this is quite an involved demo, you can take elements away from it as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab the card in. I'm just going to go and knock the... I've got a heater on in here and it's getting really warm. I'm going to just knock the heater off. That's the little part that we're going to be making next. Okay, so this is using the Summer Foliage Panel Stamp and Die set on this one. So we're going to build up this beautiful sunflower and a summer flower panel. So what we're going to do to start with is, again, we're going to grab in a piece of that crystal white pearl card. So I've got that here. I'm going to give it a good dust over with an anti-static bag. And then we're going to grab in our stamp, she says. If I can pick it up off the table. There we go, that'll fit on there perfectly. We're going to take our Wow Clear embossing ink pad again. I'm going to pop my pin in the top of my glue as well before I forget. Right, so we're going to ink up our stamp. So lots of light tapping all over the image. Gillian's asking, would the pickup tool I use for diamond art be suitable for this, or is it too small? I would imagine that, yeah, it would be fine, to be honest. If it picks up your gems, you just have to try it maybe on one of the larger gems, but if it picks them up, yeah, no problem at all. Right, so you want to make sure you've got plenty of ink on that stamp. Then we're going to grab our stamp in. We're going to place this down onto our crystal white pearl card. We're going to press. So again, you want firm, even pressure all over the image. I'm putting one hand on the stamp and pressing with the other. And then that's going to lift off. Okay, so we're going to take that and we're going to cover that with our Wow Metallic Silver Superfine Embossing Powder. So we're going to sprinkle that over the top. That's then going to go back into the jar. Then we're going to heat this up. So again, holding the heat gun still until you see that embossing powder start to melt and change. There we go, and then once we've got that image all nicely heated up, there we go. That looks absolutely fabulous. Okay, so we're going to hold that, just give that a couple of seconds to dry, just leave it still. And I'm going to grab in my die set. So the die set that I'm using is the A5 Fancy Rectangles. Just need to work out which size it is. It's the next one up. So it's the, so I'm going 1, 2, 3. It's the fourth one in. Okay. So again, I'm going to pop that back into the little wallet. So I'm going to flip that round and I'm going to tape it so it's pretty central. Okay. So going to take a little bit of low tack tape, tape this down into place. So thinking about there might be quite nice. So we'll tape that down there, and then we're going to run this through our die cutting machine again. And just pop this together and run that through. So again, I'm using my base plate, my plastic shim, my die cut side up with my card on the top, and then my cutting plate on top of there. And that is just running through my Gemini machine now. Genuinely got fears that there's going to be one day that these plates are just going to snap in half because they are so cracked at the sides. But anyway, they're working for now, so we'll keep going. So I'm going to pop that to one side again. We're going to grab in our lovely die cut piece. And do you know what? This fits absolutely perfectly with this die set. It makes such a lovely little frame just around the edge of it. So I'm going to pop that one back away in here. Always like to keep my nested die sets together as well, because obviously they're a little bit more money, your nested die sets, but they are so worth it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab in just a Copic marker, any kind of Copic. I just want a green one basically. So the one that I've pulled out is called New Leaf. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and just colour the leaves on this panel. And the reason why I'm doing this is because that lime zing is like a little chameleon kind of glitter, and because it's transparent, if you put it on top of a slightly darker colour, you're going to get a slightly darker green. So I quite like doing that with this glitter because it just gives you that different effect and it really makes the image pop. So I'm going to go in with my green marker and just colour these leaves in. Again, I have got one of these that I've already done and glittered just so it was dry for my finished project with you all today. So I'm just going in, colouring these leaves in. You could be using any green alcohol marker as well. So we're just going to go in and colour this in. Always go so quietly when I'm colouring as well. I was in, me and Becca were in here the other day crafting, actually yesterday. We were colouring in some of the new Christmas stamps and there was just silence. You could hear a pin drop because we were just concentrating colouring in. Right, so you can see how you can colour the leaves. Now I have left the larger leaves because what we're going to do is stamp it again and then cut those elements out, but I'll tell you about that in a moment. So what I'm going to do is go back in with my Dries Clear Glue again and just infill in the leaves like so. I'm not being too careful if I go over the lines or anything. It is nice when you emboss an image though, because you kind of have that lovely little ridge just to work up to. Just works absolutely perfectly. So we're going to just add in our glue onto here. I'm going to cover that little bit with some glitter to start with. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same with these ones here as well. So I'm just infilling these beautiful leaves like so. Okay, and then we're going to sprinkle this over and oops, tap away the excess. There we go. Okay. So I've got one that I've done that is totally dried. So this is the one that I've literally just done. Okay, and then the one that's dried, I've got over here. You can see how that green is a lot more vibrant than this one. Okay, so you can see the difference when that glue dries down. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in and I'm going to just edge round this one with my chisel tip glue pen. And I'm going to dunk it in some Crystalina glitter again. So I'm just going to whiz around the edge. So it's the same principle of hold your pen at a slight angle, drag it towards you. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a piece of our lovely mirror card. So the mirror card that I'm using is from the Dual Colours mirror card pad. And I'm going to just position this into place on here. So we do a die set that matches this A5 frame perfectly, but it was a little bit too much of a border for what I wanted for this one. So just trimmed my straight rectangle down just by eye. So I'm going to pop that that onto here, like so. Okay, and then we're going to take our guillotine in and just trim this down. Okay, so I'm going to line it up just about there, and that down, line that up, and that down. Okay, so then you can see how you've got that with that lovely little mirror cardboard around the edge. So next bit I have pre-prepped, okay, because like I say, it is quite a long stamp along this one, but lots of you have asked about this project. So I thought, right, we'll do it as a stamp along, because then we can take a little bit more time showing you exactly how to do this one. So what I've done is I've stamped the image again, and then just using my scissors, I've cut out each of the leaves, but I've left them attached to the centre of the flowers, if that makes sense. There we go. So each of those big leaves. I mean, I didn't really have the patience or the time to cut the sunflowers out perfectly, so I just kind of cut the centrepiece out and left the petal on that was attached to the leaf. It's still going to give you the dimension, it's going to look just as good when you look at the card, it just saves you a little bit of time and a little bit of work. And we are all for that. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take some foam pads and just layer this up. So actually on my completed one here, you can see I have glittered up the leaves underneath. That's a me thing, I have to say, because I like to see the glitter underneath if you look at the card from the side, but that's just me being fussy. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. So we're going to layer these up to start with. Those are going to go onto there, and then we're going to pop this one on here. It's going to have to be a little foam pad here. The thing with these stamp-alongs is as well, obviously today's is a little bit different as it is a little bit more involved. But if you're crafting along at home, you can watch this back on YouTube, you can pause it, catch up, and then press play again. Okay, so this is where we are at the moment. What I've then done is I've taken my panel stamp and I've stamped it twice onto the aquamarine pearl card, like so, okay, and then I've used the die, I've popped it over the top of the image, die cut it out so I've got my flowers, and we're going to build these flowers up first. So I've done the flowers in exactly the same way as we did the flowers for the corners. So dots of glue, cover it with your rainbow blue glitter, and then the important part of this is how to make them up. So with the panel stamp, it doesn't cut to the centre of the flower, so you just need to whiz round with your scissors and cut towards the middle, and then you're going to just pinch down the centre like so to create a little valley fold. Do exactly the same with the next one. So just working round, snipping towards the centre. I'm going to pinch down the middle, and again that's going to create that little valley fold. I'm going to put a blob of glue into the centre. So again, I'm using the Art Glitter Dries clear glue. I'm going to pop that one down onto there. Another blob of glue. I'm going to pull this one up, so scrunch the petals up towards you like so, and then offset it and place it down. Okay, and that then creates that lovely 3D flower. I'm going to do exactly the same with the smaller one as well on here. So snip round just towards the centre of the flower, and all that does, it just gives you the movement to be able to shape the petals. Okay, we did try to do it on the die for you, but it was a little bit, without going into too many technicalities, it was a little bit too detailed basically, so it didn't work so well. I'm going to use a foam pad to stick this one down. So I'm going to go onto here, and this is what I love about this stamp, you can play with the different levels as well, which looks really cool. So then we're going to snip towards the centre again on this one. Just going to work round. We're then going to pull the petals up towards, like so. Blob of glue into the centre. We're going to pull those petals up. I'm going to twist that round and stick it down. Okay, so you can see how cool that's now looking. Next part I want to show you is how to create these beautiful little sunflowers. Okay, so to do those, I took my panel stamp again. I'm going to just get rid of my excess glitter on there. So to do the little sunflowers, I took my panel stamp, and this is where your clear gloss superfine embossing powder and your black ink pad are going to come in. What I did is took a piece of just plain white card, not using pearl this time, just your standard white cardstock. And I'm going to take my anti-static bag again because we are going to emboss this. I'm going to take my VersaFine ink pads, so I'm using Onyx Black. I'm going to ink up the stamp. You can see I've had lots of black ink on this stamp already. I'm only interested in the flowers, so to be honest, that is all that I'm going to ink up. Okay, I'm not going to worry about inking the whole stamp. I'm going to place this down and press. So you want firm, even pressure all over the image. And then we're going to lift that off. Okay, and you can see how you've got that perfect image. I'm going to take our clear gloss superfine embossing powder, tip that over and get rid of the excess there. We're going to heat this up. So with your clear gloss and the black, you'll see it go from like a very dull grey to a lovely bright glossy shiny black. There we go. So I'm just going to trim that away from my white card there. And then we're going to grab in the die set that matches this one. All prepared here. So what we're going to do is place this die over the top of the image. So again, I'm just going to use a little bit of low tack tape. And that's just going to hold that into position while we run that through our die cutting machine again. So again, I'm using my Gemini. So I've got my base plate, my plastic shim, my card, my die and my cutting plate on the top. Then we're just going to run that through our machine. So you can see how that's just running through, and I'm going to grab that at the other side. And there we go. So then again, when we pop these out, you will see that we've got these perfect little die cut flowers. Okay, that cut away the foliage, sorry. So for this particular project, all we're going to use is the two sunflowers. I'm going to pop these two to the other side because you can keep those and use them for something else later. I'm going to take a yellow marker pen and just colour in the petals. So I'm not too careful. Again, I like to have a little bit of colour just underneath just to make it pop. Do exactly the same on the large one as well. I have got these pre-prepped again and dry, so I can use those ones on my finished one. So what I'll do is I'll glitter one to show you how to do it. Okay, and then I'm going to take like a nice warm brown just for the centre. So this one is sepia in my Copic marker. So all you need to do is just get that brown ink on there. Exactly the same with this one. Okay. So then your little sunflowers coloured in. So what we're going to do now is take our 2 glitters. So the glitters that we're going to use for this particular one are Copper Medley in the Lumiere. So I'm going to start with that one. And Lemon Sorbet, which is one of our finer glitters. So what we're going to do is take the Copper Medley first. And literally you're going to just go in with tiny little dots of glue. Just dot those around the centre. So if I hold that up, you can see there how I've done that. Then we're going to sprinkle over our Copper Medley glitter. But you can see, because it's quite a chunky glitter, those little dots of glue are enough to hold it. And it still gives you a little bit of colour shining through. So it just gives you a little bit more texture and dimension. That Copper Medley works so well for the centres of the sunflowers as well. It really does look lovely. So I'm going to pop the Copper Medley back into the jar. Then I'm going to grab in my little sunflower. I'm going to grab in, is this Lemon Sorbet? Yeah, Lemon Sorbet. I'm going to glitter the petals. So again, I'm not worrying about going between the lines. I'm just glittering straight over. Getting my glue on there and infilling the petals. Like so. So we're just going to work our way around. And then we're going to cover this with our Lemon Sorbet. Oh, look at it, it's a gorgeous colour, isn't it? It's a lovely, vibrant, zingy yellow. So I'm going to tap away the excess and then you can see how you've got that beautiful little sparkly flower made. Of course, if you didn't want these to be sunflowers, you could make them into gerberas if you did them in like bright pinks or purples or something like that. Just a little bit different. You could do the centres in yellow if you wanted to. So what we're going to do next is bring our panel back in. We're going to just layer this up. So we'll use a couple of foam pads. So my smaller one is going to go down here. My larger sunflower is going to go up the top here. So all we're doing is just layering those up. Okay, and you can see how that panel's starting to come together perfectly. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take our bling box back in. Going to add blob of glue into the middle of each of those larger flowers and add in one of the larger bling stones. Lost my little picky up tilt. Do you know what? I start out so tidy, so organised. Then there's just utter carnage on my desk. Right, we'll have to use tweezers instead. So I'm going to drop these jewels into the centre. And then we're going to go in and just add some of the smaller jewels into the background. So just where there's like some little berries on those leaves, I've just popped a dot of glue. Then I'm going to just add in my little jewels. Like so. Then we're going to do exactly the same the other side there. Just going to give that a little tap just to get rid of the excess glitter, but then you can see how lovely that is then looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and build up the front for my card base. So what I've got is I've got a piece of my blue mirror card that I've cut to 7 3/4. inches that is, and then I've got a piece of the aquamarine pearl card and I've cut that to 7.5 inches. I'm going to stick these two together, so I'm just going to use a little bit of my collal all purpose. And I'm going to stick that down onto here. I'm going to stick this onto my card front, but then I'm going to leave it there because I want to put that in the inside in first, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take my card blank, so it's an 8x8 card blank that I'm using. I'm going to put a little bit of glue just onto the back of here. And then I'm going to put this down onto my card blank, like so. Okay, so we're going to pop start and do a little bit of work on the inside now. So what I've done is I've taken one of the beautiful papers from the beautiful Jewels paper pad that we're using. I'm going to fold it in half, like so. I'm going to trim a little bit just off the top. Tiny bit so then it doesn't overhang my card blank. And then we're going to stick that inside. Now what's really important when you stick this down is you only put your double-sided tape. It's not often that I use tape, but I'm going to today. So you only put it down this edge, so that open edge, and the other open edge. You need to allow that paper to have some give in your card, otherwise it becomes a little bit too rigid. So you don't want to stick it down fully, so just tape on those two edges. So you're going to stick that one in there. I'm going to do exactly the same with this one. Stick that down there. And then when you open that out, you've got your paper stuck in the middle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in our second 8x8 card blank and just start to make up the shape for this pop out centre. So I'll grab this in to show you, you can see what I mean. Okay, really, really easy to do. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take our card blank. Just going to get rid of some of these little bits and pieces just so I've got a bit more room to work. So we're going to take our card blank. So I've got it open with the fold at the left hand side, okay? So it opens like a normal card. I'm going to fold this back on itself, like so. Just use the handle of my scissors to fold that, okay? Then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So fold to the left and then fold that back on itself. So in effect, you've got like a concertina type card. So you're going to turn that back round to the front so you can see what you're doing. And we're going to take a stamp and we're going to, should we stamp it first? Yeah, we'll stamp it first. So we're going to bring in that lovely corner stamp again. So let me grab that one, which is there. We're going to give this a little dust over. Okay, so we're going to start off by stamping the corners in the bottom left here. Okay, so what we're going to do is ink up our stamp. This bit's a little bit tricky, but it's worth it in the end. We're going to position that down into the corner. It does just fit. And then press. Firm even pressure all over the stamp again. Lift that off. I'm going to do exactly the same at the opposite corner here. So I'm going to line up my stamp, position it down and press. So again, you want firm even pressure all over that image. We're going to lift that away, and then we want to grab in our scrap paper, because we want to cover this with our metallic silver super fine embossing powder. Sprinkle that over there, that over there. Now I have got a couple of fingerprints. I'm not going to worry too much about the ones in the middle, because we're going to die cut that out in a second anyway. One I am worried about is that one there. So just grab in a little paintbrush and just dust away. Okay, and then we're going to heat this up. Just give me 2 seconds to get the lid back on that powder. Then we're going to take our heat gun. We're going to hold that heat gun still until we see that powder start to melt and change, and then we're just going to move it over the image like so. There we go. So I'm hoping that that made sense to everyone, how I did the inside here. Okay then, so what we're going to do next, and this makes it so much easier, because back in the day when I used to make these, there wasn't an A4 die cutting machine, so you had to hand cut your apertures. But now we have fabulous dies that are going to do that for you. So I'm going to just use the basic circles die. So what I'm going to do is pick a size that lines up. Did I chop a little bit of the flower off? I did. I'm going to pick a size like that one there. So I'm chopping a little bit of the petal off, but that's fine because it's going to look pretty when we overlay it. So I'm going to take my die, I'm going to flip it over. You want to try and get your die pretty central. Don't stress too much about it. You want it about in the middle. Okay. So that looks, I'll just do it by eye, that looks pretty central to me. I'm going to tape that there, tape that there. So that's then going to cut like a hole out in the middle of the card. I'm going to run that through my Gemini. You do need an A4 die cutting machine to do this, because obviously you need that width of the plate to get your die on there. So again, I'm using my base plate, my plastic shim, my cutting plate on the top, and then we're going to run that straight through. Like so. So just give that a little second, it's just running through there. It is so easy to do this as well. It looks really complicated, but honestly it's a really simple concept to do. We'll lift that out. Okay, so it's looking a little bit weird. Oh, look at that. I could not have got that any more central if I tried. There we go. Right, so we've got our aperture in the middle there. I would like my ribbon. And I have got it in here somewhere. There it is. Right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to put that die away. Honestly, I'm paranoid about keeping my dies in sets like this. I can remember, because I have been crafting quite a while now. I did used to craft with my grandma when I was about 5 or 6 year old, and it's never gone away, the crafting. I've just crafted for what feels like forever. When you kind of A4 die sets first came out, some of them were about £50 and £60 a set. So since then I'm always paranoid about putting them away, because obviously that you don't just want to lose one of the dies there, do you? So what we're going to do next is we're going to cut 2 lengths of ribbon. So there's not like a specific measurement to this. It just depends how big you want your bow to be on the side of the card. So I've cut 2 lengths, and this is our luxe ribbon. What we're then going to do is we're going to pop a bit of double-sided tape on here. Do exactly the same on the other side. I'm going to move this bit of paper out of the way so you can see what I'm doing for this part. So I'm now going to attempt to peel the backs off. This here, if I can. I've managed to glue my pokey tool so it just no longer gets the little pokey bit out. Which is a nightmare. I really need to treat myself to some new tools, I think. Right, here we go. This is painful to watch, isn't it? Trying to get the backs off here. There we go. Right then, so what we're going to do is take a piece of the ribbon and stick it in. So you want it about central. Maybe it's a fraction higher than that. Maybe it's about there. Yeah, that looks good. So then what I do is turn that round so that's like on the back. Then using your other side here, you're like going to create a bit of a sandwich for your adhesive. She says if she can get the back off. There we go. So we've got our ribbon here. So we're going to take our second bit, pop it so it's directly over the top. Like so. So then when you tie it, the ribbon's going to be in the right place. Okay. What we need to do next is just add a little bit of glitter in onto these leaves. So I'm going to try and really carefully do that. Should have done this and pre-prepped it and let it dry, but anyway. We're going to use our Dries Clear Glue again. It's the exact same technique that we did on the front, so it's dead easy to do. So we're going to go in with our glue. Just add a tiny bit of glue to the leaves. I'm going to add a little few dots into the background as well. Okay. So you can add as much or as little glitter as you like. Okay, and then we're going to take our scrap paper in again. I'm going to sprinkle over my Finalizing glitter. So, and tap away the excess. Definitely should have pre-prepped this bit earlier. It's not as difficult as I'm making it look there. Right, I'm going to pop that bit to one side and let that dry, and I'm going to do the little panels to go inside of my card. So again, all of the measurements for these bits are on the website. So have a look on the website and you'll find the measurements for those on there. So what we're going to do is take our little pre-cut down pieces. Grab these in. So I've got a piece of mirror card, I've got a piece of aquamarine, and then I've got a piece of my patterned paper. And with these two pieces, we're going to glitter the edges. So I'll really quickly do that to show you again. So all you need to do is take your chisel tip glue pen. Drag along the edge of each piece of the patterned paper. And the same with the lovely aquamarine pieces as well. If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that we do this little technique an awful lot with glitter. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with this piece here. Those bits done. Now I've got this white panel here. I'm going to glitter the edge of this one. This matches a little glue pen. The other one I'm going to leave because I'm going to stamp a little sentiment onto it. Okay. Just a bit there. There we go. Right then, so we're going to stick these bits together now, so that's our mat and layering, getting nicely stuck together. So we're going to add a little bit of glue onto the back of here. Okay. It's going to go into here. Then we're going to take that lovely patterned paper, a little bit of glue on there, stick that down. We'll do exactly the same with the other side. You can keep these quite flat because they're going to be inside of the card. It's going to go onto there. Like so. So I'm going to pop those to one side, and then what I'm going to do is, I don't think I've left out my Hello Lovely stamp that I've used on the finished sample. So what I'll do is I'm going to do a little sentiment with one of the friend stamps that comes on the, oh I can't think of the name, the Summer Foliage Corner stamp and die set. So this one says, a best friend, oh, wrong way around. A good friend knows all your stories. So I'm going to stamp that at the top. We'll do this here, little ink. Good friend knows all your stories. Put that one there. And I'm going to do, a best friend helped you write them at the bottom. Okay, so that is then creating this little panel. Then I'm going to use my silver superfine embossing powder. I'm going to tip that over, tap away the excess, back into the jar, and then we're going to heat this up. There we go. Alright, so what we're going to do now is take our glitter again. I'm going to just glitter up along the edges here. So, right then, and then what we're going to do next is we're going to start and finish off the card. So I'm going to grab in the front panel that we made earlier, and I'm going to stick this onto the front like so. So grab some foam pads in to do this. So just a few foam pads on the back, all over your project like so. Do like plenty of foam pads on there. Okay, and then we're going to whip the backs off these. I always like to work into a little little pot just to take the backs off into. It helps to try and keep me tidy. There we go. So we're going to pop that onto there. Oh my word, I've just seen the time. We've got about 13 minutes left. So we're going to pop it with the flowers in the top left and the bottom right corner. Pop that down there. Then we've got our lovely panel that I'm going to put at an angle across the centre. And then what I did is I stamped the sentiments and just mounted them onto some little plaques to go at the top as well. Okay. So then we're going to add some foam pads onto here. Oops. There we go. So I'm keeping them in the centre so they're away from the flowers, if that makes sense. I'm going to do a double layer. So I'm basically going to stick another foam pad on the top of each of them. Like this. So that's then going to go a slight angle across the middle of the card. We're then going to open the card up and we're going to start and glue the inside in. So again, I'm just using my collal. All-purpose glue. And what you can do as well when you're making these at home is I used to stick the insides in first before I decorated the front. And what I'd do is I'd leave the inside to dry. Stuck that the wrong side first, sorry. Let me turn that round. I just want my ribbon a little bit higher. I stuck it the wrong side in first. Right, so what we're going to do is stick this down like so-ish. Here we go. Right, we're going to stick that one onto there. And what you can do is peg this if you're at home. So pop some little pegs on. And then that just holds it in place while it dries. And then that's going to get stuck onto there. Like so. So then when you open your card up, ta-da, you've got your pop out. I wouldn't recommend opening and closing it while your glue's still wet. You want to give your glue a little bit of time to dry. And then again, like we've done before, I've got my flowers here that I've already kind of glittered up and things. So all I've done is taken that flower corner stamp, I've stamped and embossed it twice onto my aquamarine pearl card, exactly the same as we did for the front of the card, and die cut those out. I'm using my 3mm foam pads to stick this one together today. You can use any, to be honest, it's personal preference. So then we're going to just overlay the little flowers onto here, so exactly the same as we did on the front of the card. So there's nothing too difficult, nothing too technical. Go onto there, that one into there. I'm going to stick the little side panels in as well. So again, just a little bit of all-purpose glue onto the back of these. Personally, I like using glue as well when I'm sticking all of this together because it gives you that chance to kind of manoeuvre things around and get them into the right place. Whereas if you use double-sided tape, it's kind of like stuck down and that's it. A little bit of glue onto here. My word, I thought an hour and a half would be loads of time. I feel like I've done a lot of talking at you all today. There we go. Right, so what we're going to do then is pop in the little sentiment panels. So this one here, so I'm going to just use the foam pads. If you wanted to, I'm just going to use my 3mm to stick this together today because that's what I've got with me. But if you wanted to, you could use the 2mm foam pads just to make it a little bit thinner for the inside. Then we'll whip the backs off these. Hope that you have all enjoyed today's card. It's been really fun to craft along with you all. Again, this video will be up on YouTube so you can catch up at any time, and it will be on the Facebook page as well. This one go onto this side like so, and then you can add your little jewels into the middle of the flowers. Do that really quickly to show you all. Feel like I'm speed crafting now. Right, so pop that there, and then we'll add a couple of the middle size jewels as well. There, that there. And then I'm going to put 3 in the corners here. Just a little bit of glue. And what you can do as well, and I'll bring in the finished one to reference, but you can do, you can add some sequins and things onto the corners using exactly like we did on the front. Just add them in, dot them around these parts here, your foliage corners. So 3 little jewels there, dead easy to do. And then nearly there, I had loads of leftover flowers from using the summer foliage corner. So what I did is I just kind of built them up and stuck them on the inside basically. So just pop 3 in a little line. Very glittery. They need a little dust, I think, but I'll stick them in to show you. So I just left them as is. Okay, so you can put that one there. That one there. Put the larger one in the middle. Just using foam pads to pop these on. And on top. Like so. So these were just left over from the corners. So I just did a few little extras. But that there would be your completed pop-out card. So all you would need to do is add your sentiment onto there and add a few sequins inside. Again, I'll show you the finished one that's completely dry because this one is still a little bit wet. So let me bring this one in. There we go. So by adding your sentiment onto the front and then opening this up, you can just go to town, adding your little sequins inside. So I put 3 in the top corners here, and then I started to just dot them around the aperture, and I dotted a few in behind the flowers as well. But that would then be your completed pop-out card. So let me pop the camera back round. Let me move some of my rubbish out the way first because I've got stuff all over the desk here. It's not the greatest of looks. There we go. Let me turn this round. So, thank you all so much for joining me today for today's stamp along. If you haven't done so already, hop over to the website chloescreativecards.co.uk, scroll down to the blog. If you click on today's project, there is a free PDF instructional download. You can also shop all of the products that I've used in today's demo on the website too. Yeah, so please do have a little look over. This video will be going up on Facebook and on YouTube, so if you want to go back and refer back at any point, you can do, or if you maybe want to try this project another time, of course you can do as well. And don't forget to share your makes in the Stamped by Chloe, Chloe's Creative Cards Facebook group. So please do have a little look on the website, and yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed making this project, and I hope to see you again very, very soon.